Now I'm here, I'm gonna get out in these woods and see if I can't hunt up some mushrooms. Sassafras. Fairly distinct leaf. Alternate branching, but really you can tell by that leaf if it's a sassafras. This one has two sides. This one only has one finger. And this one here has no fingers. All the leaves can look a little different, but they all have that rounded, kind of lobed shape. Dig up that root, and you can make sassafras tea or root beer. Beech tree. Beech leaves. Alternate branching. But this gets little nuts that are easy to shell, and they taste just like hazelnuts. It's getting to be about the time of the year for the beech nuts, and what I'll do is I'll look for big flocks of blackbirds, because the blackbirds will come through and they'll shake all the nuts out of the tree onto the ground, and then they'll come down and eat them. So you just head through the woods and you listen for the blackbirds and you cue in on them, and when you get near them, you'll see all the nuts on the ground. It's an easy way to harvest them. Because beech tree gets pretty tall, it's going to be hard to get them when they're still on the tree. And that's just an easy way to gather them up fast. I got a video called, I think it's Blackbirds and Beech Nuts, and it shows that whole process. I've showed the oaks a lot of times in videos. I mean, I have one video where I made leather using the tannins in the oak. This is a variety of red oak because it has pointy leaves. And no, this is a variety of red oak too. But the important thing about the oak, besides the acorn, is the tannins that are in the inner bark. You can use those on a wound as an antiseptic, and it's also used internally, but you got to be careful with tannins because they can harden your liver if you take it internally. And also, if you put the tannins on your skin, it is carcinogenic. It can cause cancer. So you got to be careful with using that. So just because something's natural, you know, it still has to be used intelligently, just like any other medicine. I know my hair is probably a mess, but I've been taking this hat on and off all the way down through here. And I didn't bring a comb with me. I'm not that vain that I can have to worry about having messed up hair. I'm out in the woods, you know. I'm not in a beauty contest. It's a nice day. It's cooled off. We had a bunch of rain. Couldn't really tell in the woods here that we had any rain because these trees suck up all the moisture. But it's still damp in spots. Haven't found any mushrooms yet. You know, I'm always out hunting wild edibles and mushrooms. I think these people should hide these a little better. geocache. Let's see what's in there. Not a very watertight geocache. And there's a pen and a pencil sharpener. Looks like some Mardi Gras beads. And that's about it. Ew. I find so many of these and I don't even have a GPS. At least not one that I bring with me. I'm really liking this bike. It's like a newfound sense of freedom. I got my big blue bag and inside there is my backpack because I thought I might get into a spot where I'm not allowed to take my bike and I can just ditch the bike, throw the backpack on and go, and then come back and, you know, hop back on the bike and go the rest of the way. But it looks like they've opened this trail up to bikes, so I'll be able to go right through this whole entire woods, come out on the other side, on the east side, and go right down to another spot where I hunt mushrooms, and then go right back home from there. I won't even have to backtrack at all, which is nice. And being on the bike, I can go slow enough that I can still look for mushrooms and stuff, but I'm still making good time, you know. It's pretty cool. And like I was saying before I crossed that bridge, it's just a great day to be out. I think it's probably in the 70s, and just a nice slight breeze. Doesn't seem to be a lot of bugs out here in the woods, which I figured there would be. Just a great day to be out. This is my little mini vacation. One day I finished school, I passed my final class with an A, so all I have to do now is apply for my degree and I'll be edumacated. A lot of birds out. This camera won't pick them up though. This right here is wood nettle, similar to stinging nettle, except it has a broader leaf that's not so lance shaped. I've never messed with it, and I'm curious if it would make good cordage too. So if anybody out there knows if wood nettle makes good cordage the way stinging nettle does, I'd like to hear it. And having said that, I'm going to have to say thanks for watching, and thanks for all the comments and support, because my camera just died and it's probably going to be dying here again. So that's it for the camera. Well, as you might be able to tell, the batteries did die, but I just wanted to give you guys well, I'll just kind of finish out the video and show you what I got. Even though I wasn't able to videotape it, I found a ton of oyster mushrooms. And I went ahead and picked about, I don't know, maybe 2 pounds. I didn't want to get too greedy. But these were all growing on a downed beech tree in that woods where you last saw me. Now if you are afraid of mushrooms or whatever, then, you know, don't bother hunting them. But if you want to hunt mushrooms, oyster mushroom is a pretty easy one to identify. It has a white to lilac colored spore print, and it smells a bit like licorice. And then also, I figured I'd show you those hazelnuts I gathered. Because the trip out, like I said, it took 3.5 hours, but a lot of that time was spent gathering these hazelnuts and doing the video and pictures. The trip back took 1 hour and 20 minutes, and I stopped twice for 10 minutes, so it was pretty much an hour on the nose to get back. But there's the hazelnuts I gathered. There was two clusters of shrubs. There was the young cluster that I was picking from, and right behind that, further in the woods, was an old mature cluster, and there was probably more throughout there. I picked maybe 10 to 20% off the young cluster in the front, and this is what I ended up with. A lot of hazelnuts. There's a few hundred there. I don't know how many, but it's a good amount. The only thing I'll say about the hazelnuts is it is hard to beat the animals and other hunters to them. The one spot I was going to, I found out that it wasn't the squirrels and deer getting the hazelnuts, it was other people. So if you pick them early, you can avoid that. But if you pick them too early, even if you put them in a brown bag and you let them dry out, they're not going to be as good. They're going to be kind of chewy, and they're going to be bland in flavor. You almost need to let them get a little bit of brown on the nut before you pick them. If the nut itself is still pure white, they're probably going to be a bit chewy, and they're not going to be crunchy, and they're just going to be not as flavorful as the ones that are ripe. But you do what you got to do, I guess. I'm just going to leave these in this brown bag and let them dry out, and have a whole bunch of hazelnuts to make some stuff with. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the comments and support.